Well, YouTube, what's going on? We're going to look at kind of like a part two of what the Greenlight is. Putting these videos out pretty much back to back. These are all new castings. They're going to be some really exciting stuff. We're entering a new phase of Greenlight. They're really branching out and getting some more obscure vehicles. These are basically cars that have never been done in 1/64 scale this well. I mean, certainly, yes, they've had Broncos, but not like this. Escort RS, that's actually kind of cool too. We're gonna look at that. It's got like very high level of detail. Bought my first Airstream trailer for the layout, so we're gonna look at that too. I think this is really good, but this is the recent release of Hitched homes, and then we got the AMC Matador. So really obscure vehicle for a diecast company to do, but almost necessary, especially if you're like a police person. You like those castings. They're also going to do the civilian versions, a couple of civilian versions. Hobby Shop's going to have a version of the Matador. Black Bandit, I got that release coming, so it's going to be a favorite. I love Matadors. They were very, very sought after police vehicles because they perform so well. LAPD was one of the notable departments that purchased the car, and it was just because it outperformed everything for sale at the time. And these cars came out, as a branch off of the AMC Ambassador, and then they made the Matador. So let's look at that real quick, and then we'll look at the Airstream, and then we'll go from there. So one of the first releases, this is a mainline release, meaning that this will be well distributed because it's a hot pursuit release. This is a 1971, so first year for this car. Basically an ambassador, AMC ambassador from this point back. This front area was new. Full-size car. It's actually a big car. It looks small in pictures and things like that, but this car is a large vehicle. Take a look at it. This isn't a Yonkers police livery. And what's funny about this is we'll look at it when we take it out. You do a Google search, Yonkers Police AMC Matador, of course you'll come up with a bunch of Greenlight car pictures, but you also come up with the real one. And there's a period photo of this car in the Yonkers Police livery, and it's got the same plate. So I wonder if they just Googled it, or if someone submitted. This is the release. So we got the 95 and the 93 Broncos we're going to look at. I didn't get the Dallas car because I think I'll be able to find that on the pegs. Yonkers car. I didn't get the Toledo vehicle either. I might be able to catch that on the pegs too. It seems like Hot Pursuit is on a bunch of pegs. Alright, let's get to it. Let's take some general views of the car. The casting size is large, so it is scaling correctly. I'm very excited to have this casting. AMCs are great cars. They're kind of obscure unless people really know about these cars. It has the 401 badge on here, so we'll look at that too once we get the zoom. But comparing it to like a Caprice, basically the same. AMCs were always a little bit smaller than their competition, but they were known for being reliable at some point. Sometimes they were trashy, but other times they were pretty good, and they couldn't create everything like the big three. I'm talking about all the engine parts and all the transmission parts, so they'd have their own motors, but a lot of times they'd offshoot the carbs and the ignition systems. They'd also do transmissions. Notably, they use Chrysler transmissions at this point. I think 71 they were still using Borg-Warner transmission. They went to a torque flight shortly thereafter, so torque flight's your 3-speed heavy duty from Chrysler. They used Greenlight's generic wheels. This is the same wheel that we'll see on the Hitched Homes Airstream, but they do okay. What's really good about this is the casting is nicely done. This is still the era before big bumpers, so you could see that this has a fuselage shape like the Chrysler cars did. You have the valance here, part of your body, and they kind of just stick on a small bumper and grill. So these cars were very nice, handsome cars, I'd say. Quad headlights, they had a grill like that, and it kind of stayed the same until 73. 74 kind of changed. 74, 75 changed. Bumpers got big because of federal regulations for crash standards. You can see Matador up there on the C-pillar, and you got your 401 badge. That was part of it, the recipe success. This 401 AMC motor was very good. It's torquey. The car was lighter than the competition. It braked a little bit better as well. It handled good. The spring rates were good on the car. So it really would outperform the Chrysler and the Fords and also the Chevys of the time. Those cars were a lot larger. And even though they might have had larger engines, they still couldn't keep up with this vehicle. So this performed really good in the trials. We got an early style light bar, which looks good. It's a little tall. This is the same one they've used on their other cars of this time period, the 60s and 70s. Probably might take this and file it down, make it come down on the roofline a little bit more. The other thing about this, they double tampoed the window so you could see the lower trim. This is okay. This is fine. This is just a little too heavy, so you can take brake cleaner, or not brake cleaner, but brake fluid, and just slowly work this on a very small tip, like a rag, toothpick, something like that. But you'll wear away this paint with that, and it won't fog the glass, the plastic. You have to go real slow and don't do too much pressure. But that's what I plan on doing. But I wanted to show everybody what it looks like. I'll take a zoom. You can see it's just a little bit too much. So that'll be taken off. But they have a really good printing system. The tampo work is never really smudged, and they can get really tiny. Look at the 401 badge. And it was red like that. AMC did that. So this is like one of the first runs of this casting. There's a couple others that came out. The Black Band at the same time. I think there might have been another. You can see the car number, the 116. You Google image this car. Just type it in, 1971 Yonkers Matador. You'll see it. Actual picture of the car. You also have the script on the front hood. This is black and white. I almost would think it would be blue, but really this is blue. I thought it was that dark blue. It's really black. They captured this car really well. This car has a lot of screen presence, especially with the stuff in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. There's a lot of these cars, these type of cars. Well, 70s, that's 71, but they had AMCs before that, and this is going to have a long life with Greenlight, I'm sure. It's got the 3 taillights. It's funny when you look at an AMC, you think it's from a manufacturer you might know, because it borrows from a lot of things. Chrysler and Ford, Chevy. They used everybody's little cues. This is a really cool car. Very excited to have it. Yonkers Police. That's a 1971 AMC 401 motor car. They came with small engines. I mean, you can get this car because it wasn't enormous. Inline 6 was the base engine, 3-speed transmission. You know, they offered a 4-speed 1971. That was quickly dropped. It might have been for the coupe because they did have a coupe counterpart. Looked completely different, but built on the same chassis. And you can get 401 in the coupe too. So 232 and a 258 inline 6. And then you had a few different 8 cylinders, 304, 360, and a 401. 401, under 15-second quarter mile. So another strong performer of the choked 70s. Anyway, that's why it's kind of a great car. A lot of police departments like this car a lot. Performed well. Too bad they couldn't keep them around. All right, so let's get this trailer out of the way. We'll get my tow rig out. Take my High Sierra. So we're going to look at this 1972 Airstream Land Yacht Safari. That's another mouthful. I took this out and kind of looked at it. I broke it up. It broke the canopy, but I fixed that. So we'll have a full canopy, and I put the landing gear in the trailer, so that's installed. But it's pretty cool. Same wheels. The same wheels and tires that are used on my 71 Matador. Greenlight used on this. So here's our canopy. And then the other ones, if you collect this is kind of an odd series. I don't know how many people would want to collect these month after month, but have at it. That's a lot of trailers, I would say. But if that's your thing, I mean, more power to you. It's pretty dedicated, getting trailers on your shelf. All right. But this one was good. It's very iconic. This is, again, looking good with vehicles. We'll take a look at this. What these are famous for is being very lightweight because they're aluminum, basically. A lot of aluminum construction. So, and they're aerodynamic. And they're very round. Very old. I mean, they go back to I think the 40s or something like that, 30s. You can comment below. Plastic base. I got surprised again. You might notice if you Greenlight people. Look at that serial number. So very low serial. I didn't really look for the serial because I was I was getting this as an opener. I wasn't having this carded. And so I was surprised. I turned it over and it was very low. And I've gotten a lot of double digits, but we've seen those single digits on this channel before. Those are pretty exciting. So, you know, good tempo. This is part of the chassis. But they do all the lighting good. Everything's denoted there, you know. It's all separate relief. I thought even though they're crooked, the venting on the top, it's very nice. You can see the profile of it. So, well detailed. It's still heavy because it's big. I mean, most of the trailers they do are tiny. They're single axle. So, getting this larger, like almost twice the size trailer for the same price, it's worth it. But these go quickly. You can never find these hanging up. When you see these hanging up there, you know, you must have seen them. You must be the first person to lay your eyes on them because I've never seen these hanging. It's always the small ones. Dual propane. No interior, just blacked out windows, unfortunately. I guess that would add too much money to the deal. But they offer a really good... I mean, it's nice. It's a great casting. They've done chrome ones, so the polished ones, they've done those. I don't have any of those. Here's the canopy. They make a different canopy coming up. I think they're going to do like an American flag one, but this is more like a traditional period canopy. So no opening doors, but they just fit in. So you see the holes. We'll just do it here so I don't break it again. Got to be careful. It puts a little tension, so these are kind of like fitting at an angle, so it keeps this on tension. And then this was working too, so it'll leave it pretty level. Then we got my Sierra. So I think it looks good all together. We'll turn it around without the canopy. Mini cars, wagons would look good with this too. Let's see. Let's get this vehicle here. I did a custom LTD a while back. This car would definitely tow that trailer. Especially tow package. You can get tow package on LTD. So, I mean, they look good with the wagon too. Or like a Grand Wagoneer. That's another classic combination. Okay, well, I digress. We look at this. I'm sure a lot of people had these. I mean, this has been out for a long time. I mean, at least a few years. This casting, anyway. Even this is a newer one. Okay, so we looked at a trailer. We looked at a Yonkers car. Yonkers, New York. What a place. Alright. Next, we're going to get into brand new castings. Let's look at the Escort, and then we're going to get to the Broncos, which are superb. We'll go over why they are. I think, again, Greenlight is really starting to understand things going forward. We're going to see the evidence here first in this 96 Escort. This is the first of the hot hatches. There's a lot of the cars. They kind of tease us with a, with a Delta right there. I don't know if they're doing this car. I can't remember, but it's funny that they have that as, but there's no Delta on the first set anyway. Got the Mustang. We've seen that before. Seen all these. But really the Escorts. I don't have the purple car. Purple car is the road car, the homologation car. This is a WRC car. Very high horsepower car. Let's see. So I was looking at this car. Very interesting. Basically the last Escort in Europe before the Focus took over. I might have had Escort as a nameplate after that, but This is amazing. This is really like a Tarmac Works or Mini GT or I don't know, Schuko. We're getting that kind of detail. What? Not only the body of the car and the scale, but the wheels and tires. It's usually something that's recycled from other vehicles that don't. This is brand new to me. I haven't seen tires like this. They might have put this on the more high performance cars, aftermarket rim cars, but I've never personally seen them, and they look good. These are the narrow rims with the OZ wheels, so this would be like a heavy duty section. They would use a little bit more of a road wheel if it was tarmac. So this is in a very good configuration. This is a 1996 car. 96 was the last year for the street production cars, but I guess they raced these up into 98 to try to bridge the gap before the Focus took its stage. You could see this is no regular front drive Focus by the way that engine is sitting. So longitudinal. Basically, this is a reskinned Sierra drivetrain. So a bigger car, a 2-liter turbo car, very aggressive turbo, very big. A turbo that was meant to live at higher RPM. So the first cars that were produced for the road, very heavy turbo lag. You really had to get on the car. But it had the Group B type rush, so that big turbo rush. Ford's great 2-liter block Cosworth car. So Cosworth derived engineering on the Ford block. This is actually a big vehicle, even though it's a compact. I mean, this generation Escort was kind of big. This wasn't something sold in North America. They had this in Europe. So this is kind of unique to them. I got 2 of these. One's in the carded. Spoiler was like that in both. So I haven't looked at pictures, but maybe that's it's a little droopy. So I don't know if that's real or not. I haven't referenced it. I don't think it was. The road car had a huge one up here. They wanted to kind of continue that look that the Sierra had. But the livery's cool. And look at the wheels and tires. I mean, perfect. They don't even crooked. Look at that. And the one in the card looks the same. This one's kind of like a nighttime setup. I mean, it's got huge rally lights on it. But it's got the painted engine. I mean, they went all out on this thing. Same list price as anything else. Clear lens headlights. Look at the tampo work. Very, very well done. Kudos, Greenlight. Very good. Even has the side view mirrors. Look at the tampo work on the windshield. It's not crooked. Rally Monte Carlo. Very nice looking car. Very aggressive car. I mean, you could tune this car if you wanted to get bonkers with it. I mean, you can do 1,000 horsepower, just like most good, stout, large bore 2-cylinder engines. You can do that if you have forced induction. And this was no joke. I mean, all-wheel drive car, 5-speed manual transmission. Biased to the rear, so it had more than 60% to the rear. I mean, I'm sure they could adjust that when there was a race car, but I think the road car was set up like that. I think after the first 2500, they kind of tuned the car better for road manners. They kind of put a better spooling turbo on it, etc. Made it a little bit more streetable. But the first 2500, I mean, they were they were straight up. They were straight up. I even think they had a water injection system in them, so pretty stout. All right, gonna go to the next car. I mean, this is awesome. Let's see. Did we get anything special on the serial number? No, we didn't. You probably caught that the first time. Also, while I'm under here, single to a twin exhaust, and then back to a single. Very interesting. I wonder if they did that for scavenging or something. I'm sure that was the stock setup. I mean, it's got cats right there, resonators. That's pretty funny. But, yeah, pretty serious. Basically a reskinned Sierra Cosworth, I guess. All right. Let's move on. We're going to get to the cream of the crop. So, big Fords, full-size Fords. And this is not a recycled F-150 casting. So, a lot of difference in it. Let's take a look. 93 to 96. 96 the last year for this body Bronco. Actually, last year for the Bronco until recently. So we got a Border Patrol car, and this is basically period, period livery. You know, Border Patrol looks different now. And it had that kind of stripe package with the vision bar. I love it. So, chrome wheels. You can find pictures of these vehicles on the internet. So I was looking at kind of like what they used to look like. You could find pictures of cars like this if you look hard enough. So this is Series 35 Hot Pursuit. They kind of went to that basic. They don't show the car anymore there. It's kind of sad, really. It'd be nice if they included the picture like they used to. But yeah, there's our set. So like the Yonkers car. Series 35 is a good one. I mean, if you want to just skip the line and buy the whole clip, just do it, because usually buying the set is cheaper than buying each of them. But this is awesome. We're going to compare this to the, and you can see how loose this is. I mean, it's a Hallmark. We'll look at that, why that's good, though, for a minute. If you're really intention on detail. So we'll have the Border Patrol truck out. We'll look at them in tandem, and then we're going to look at the 95. So 96 again last year for this Bronco. CHP used this. Very long history of using four-wheel drive vehicles. I mean, their territory, the state of California, is very rugged. So this is used for many, many different roles within the CHP, but they're cool. I mean, they're slightly modded. I mean, they sometimes they'll have a lift. They have tires. Definitely have better tires. Police package stuff. You know, better batteries and things. They put a clearance bumper on the front with a winch. A lot of times, Border Patrol runs that too. Just depends on where they're running the trucks, but they're using Tahoes now, basically. Ford Raptors. I mean, they got all sorts of cool stuff. So I love it. I mean, they did on the CHP. They got the plate up here. A lot of them had an auxiliary light here. So I've seen some people on Instagram and stuff add that light already. But pretty accurate. I mean, totally new casting. It's not like the 150. Similar in design, but you could see they don't use these headlights like they did. So we're missing that post. Look how much better it looks in scale, and that we're not looking at that that post to mount that headlight. Look at that. It's awesome. Let's see if we can get, there we go. So this one uses the regular Ford rims. It's alloy rims that they painted black, and this is like the stamped steel chrome alloy, or chrome steel that they did. They also did this in flat like gray, or like a silverish gray. But yeah, I guess the period photos, they had the ones with the chrome rims. And they put the off-road tires on it. What's good about this is Greenlight went back to a die-cast chassis. So, loose. These are very loose. They come right off. While we're looking at this body, just soak it in. They just pop off. There's nothing tabs or anything. What's cool is they do the weather strip detail. So if you wanted to take flat black, that can all be blacked in. By the time the 90s rolled in, Ford really didn't want to advertise that these tops came off, because this basically went back into the 70s. This style of Bronco, very, very similar. They had updates like the F-150 did, but really this top design, very similar to the one in the 70s and 80s. Well, they used to advertise it came off, and then they put different fasteners on this to prevent the consumer from taking it off. Became a safety hazard, basically. So they said. They really weren't having any roll bars back there or anything. So anyway, it was hard to take it off, but you could still do it. Greenlight says it's pretty easy, though. That's what I'm kind of saying. But once you kind of check it out and everything, it's great. It's got a good detail. Very simple. They would always have bucket seats in this, pretty much. I never really saw a bench seat one in the 90s. They had a very small console in there. Automatic transmission. Really, after the 90s, mid-90s, I don't think you get stick shift anymore. They were running 302s and 351s with fuel injection. So, very stout. You can see went back to the metal base. And I have a dedicated lifted casting. That's why the ride height is perfect. I mean, it's pretty much a stock 4x4 Bronco ride height. They're using their big fat tires, but the stock rims look pretty good. And I don't know if they're the same rims as these. They look different to me. They probably are. They don't, I mean, yeah. You could see the size difference. So really dedicated, but the star of the show is the grill. I mean, look, once they get the headlights correct, you can see how much better it looks. So very, very happy about that. And the older school Border Patrol logo with the unit number and everything. I mean, look at that. Bronco XLT. It's got the door stripe. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Painted head taillights, whatever. It's fine. Bumper was like that. Mine came chipped, which is kind of weird. Probably get more of these anyway. Very easy to convert this to a plain white Bronco, if you know what I mean. Alright, so there's that one, and then we'll just quickly look at the CHP, which is really sweet. This is going to look good. I'm trying to get the CHP Central Command so I can park all the California cars I have next to it. I don't understand why they left that so red in the center of the wheel. Found that interesting. I mean, they did have that wheel did have a red there, but it wasn't like that. I mean, it's like someone put like one of those funny reflectors. So great. Look at that. Amazing. So this is the later of the two. It's a 95. So you could see that the badge changed slightly in 95. Sad when those cars got discontinued. Look at that. That's amazing. Look at that grill. All this for under $10. You know what I mean? It's incredible. Alright, so Bronco. And did we get lucky on... I looked at the serial numbers on these trucks. Kind of high. These are probably flying out of the shelves right now. So, I mean, I highly recommend these. Are incredible trucks. Just incredible. I think we looked at a lot today. I really highly recommend these if you can get your hands on them. These are the first. I mean, they're going to do tons of these. I mean, Greenlight makes a casting. Everybody they're making trucks. I mean, the Club Wagon this year, the Matador, the Caprice, the Bronco, the K5 Blazers. I mean, the long bed, square body trucks. I mean, good lord. Ooh, I got a lot of stuff. A lot of cars we got to get. A lot of cars. But Broncos, wow. Really, really cool. Probably after, like I was saying, looking at them, probably have to be able to glue the tops down, and they'll stop getting lost. So I think I'm done looking at what the inside looks like, and I'm not going to modify them. They don't need it. Really, really good work. Well, we got more. I think I'm going to do a 1/18 scale finally. It's coming. But thanks for watching. All your beautiful, wonderful comments. And more to come. Stay safe out there. Till next time.